Before we get into that, let's talk to the one guy who has the power to unmute here on the channel, the producer himself, Jonas J. Campbell. Welcome back to the stream, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great because I just got done watching the Super Mario Brothers movie.
That's exactly right, and that's why I wanted to bring you in first to talk about this. Jonas, tell us, what was your experience in the movies? You said before the show that kids were jumping up and down, running through the aisles. It was like the church scene from the Blues Brothers. There were kids, upside down, left side, right side, every which way. Did you get a question mark popcorn box, Jonas?
I absolutely did. Despite them being $15, I still, I accidentally bought one, honey. I don't know why they handed this to me.
We'll give it to the kids, I promise.
Well, I think I'm going to have to go into my son's room and try to find it later because they love that thing. Yeah, every last one of them loved the movie. Even my 3-year-old, who loves quoting the "Look at us, we're adorable." Oh my goodness!
I hadn't thought about what lines kids would quote so much. This is definitely a kids' movie, right?
Yes, and I think this movie will easily make $1 billion because you have a Minions movie, except that there's a contingent of adults that maybe aren't necessarily fans of the Minions.
Right.
But tolerate them. I don't think you have that problem with the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Right. It's a multi-generational movie. Everybody likes Super Mario Brothers. And that's one of the things that has amazed me about some of these critics and why I think they're disingenuous. They've been out there saying that, oh, well, it's not approachable for people who aren't familiar with Mario. And it's like, I'm sorry, who in the civilized world is not familiar with Mario? We're talking about one of the most recognized brands on the planet. Have you seriously not played the game? It's like saying, oh, this movie was about bicycles, so I really didn't get it. What are these two-wheeled objects? I mean, come on. Everybody knows Mario.
They really can't win. I remember a review for Casino Royale in which the guy who did the review complained that they explained all the steps in Texas Hold'em poker by having an exposition character to the side to make sure that people who weren't familiar with poker could understand what's going on. Critics can't be pleased because they have to have something to write about.
Critics, all I can tell you is we need to do a quick therapy session for the critics and for those who, for whatever reason, have a major problem with Mario. Critics, here's what you need to do.
Can I have a hug? Give me a hug.
No way.
Come here.
I'm not coming over there.
Let's go.
Forget it.
Pronto.
What are you doing?
I'll hug him. I'll take that hit.
There you go. Bringing in right now someone else who has enjoyed the Super Mario Brothers movie, I believe. Lorena Creole, have you seen the film?
Yes, not only have I seen it, but I saw it last night.
Awesome.
And not only did I see it last night, but I saw it in a crowded theater for a 3D showing.
Okay, so that's what I want to know about. I did not see it in 3D, so I was trying to get the review out as quickly as possible. By the way, folks, we're over 200 now. We'll get to those super chats soon, I promise. But I was not able to see it in 3D because I needed to see it as quickly as possible. Was it worth it to see it in 3D? I thought watching it in 2D that it felt like it was definitely made for the 3D experience.
Unequivocally, yes. I saw the trailer in 3D a couple of weeks ago. And once I saw it in 3D, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to see this movie in 3D. You feel so immersed in it. It just adds that third dimension. And there were parts of it where I'm just like, I feel like I'm actually playing the darn video game. And especially a certain scene reminiscent of Mario Kart.
Great scene.
Woo! I mean, people were freaking out when they saw the Rainbow Road and just that whole scene. It was just amazing. Kids were freaking out. Adults were freaking out. Camera girl who was with me, who's a 22-year-old art student in college who grew up playing these games, including Super Princess Peach. She couldn't get enough of this film. She's like, I have to see this again. I have to see this again. And it was, I would say, definitely pay the upgrade to see it in 3D. It is perfectly made for 3D.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk to somebody who's played quite a few video games in his time, a major friend of the channel, and the creator of so much artwork for all the things that we do here on That Park Place, Valiant Renegade, all that stuff. Fat Steven, welcome to the channel. Have you had the chance to see this movie, which is loathed by the critics but loved by the fans?
No, I actually haven't seen it yet, but I've gotten more entertainment watching the critic reviews than I thought I'd ever seen a comedy special on Netflix.
Did you have hating Mario on your bingo card for 2023? Because I am seldom surprised, but this one, I mean, I didn't think that Mario would be J.K. Rowling.
I think it's because it's a popular franchise with such a legacy that Hollywood couldn't get their fingers into, and Nintendo delivered a product that is not touched by what we've seen with everything else around us. And it was directed at kids, it entertained kids, and parents were happy they didn't have to lose their minds for an hour and a half and just relax. You know.
Exactly. I agree totally. Now, I do want to get into an article here in just a moment. We have some additional guests in the back, and they're no less important than anybody who's here as well. But I do want to jump into this article, and then we'll bring them in for commentary about it. We're going to be going to Deadline today and talking about just what a huge movie this is going to be in terms of its box office. It keeps growing and growing and growing. It's like it's taking one of those giant mushrooms. So let's take a look at this. This from Anthony D'Alessandro from Today. Super Mario Brothers mushrooming to 141 million, currently second best 5-day debut for Illumination. And let's dive into it. This is the Thursday AM update, where, yes, you're going to see that they actually had to adjust even higher. It continues to rise. And that is probably not something that the critics are excited about. Folks, if you're out there watching, and there's so many of you already here, make sure to click the like button, share, and subscribe. You can stick it to the algorithms when you click it. We're talking about those notification bells. But let me say this to everybody. It's a joyful day to me, because all of these people who they think that they have such influence in the world, they are batting 0 for 2 right now in 2023 because they hated the idea of Hogwarts Legacy. They wanted that to be a movie that was a game that was 6 feet under. It didn't happen. They wanted this Mario movie to not do so well because, I mean, look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, right? It's down there at 50%-ish. It's rotten. It's no good. And audiences don't care. Audiences don't care what the critics think anymore. And I think that's a joyous thing, because I think the critics have been disingenuous. Here's the article. Illumination / Nintendo / Universals. The Super Mario Brothers movie grossed more money in its first day at $31.7 million than the 1993 live-action film made in its entire domestic run at $20.9 million, unadjusted for inflation, which means that's a meaningless statement. It's also close to $6 million higher than what we were seeing Wednesday. It just keeps going up and up. And if you watch my video the other day, I said it's going to continue going up and up. I would not be surprised if this gets revised up again by the time we get to the weekend. It's safe to say that the latest big screen treatment of the 38-year-old video game is a hit with audiences. They gave it an A cinema score yesterday. The 3-day total is looking at 92 million with an updated 5-day cumulative of 141. I believe the last time I had looked at this before they updated, they were somewhere around 137, 138. These numbers can always fluctuate, as is typical when projecting out a 5-day opening gross. Super Mario Brothers on Wednesday ranks behind that of Illumination's Despicable Me 2, which did 35 million and legged out to a 5-day total of 143. Although let's say this, with 141 being the projection and it going up, this could become Illumination's biggest movie ever, right? And they're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2, talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, all of this stuff. I think it's a guarantee at this point that video game movies are going to become a serious, well, I don't know if they're just a niche or if they're a source material, but they're definitely going to be maybe even a genre, because as we're talking about, Mario, this movie, at times feels like a video game. And perhaps that's why these critics don't like it so much, is because they don't want to watch a video game. Maybe they don't play video games. I don't know exactly what their reasoning is, but they're going to have to get used to it, because a lot of video game movies are on the way. I've actually been given a roadmap of supposedly what's coming with the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. I'm working to corroborate it and find out exactly when this was produced and all of that sort of thing before I start reporting on it. But it does have some surprises in there, if it's true. And I don't have it corroborated yet. But if it is true, there are some major, some fun things in there that I would not have anticipated them bringing to the big screen.
All I need to know is, when are we getting my balloon fight movie?
Mr. Game & Watch on the way as well. All right, so also, I don't know if Rob's going to make an appearance, though. A Duck Hunt, that would be, well, we won't go there. That's getting an R rating. It's all kinds of foul language as well. All right, let's bring in somebody else who is not unfamiliar with the small screen, middle-sized screen, or big screen we're talking about. The guy who makes all of us scream, Culture Casino, is in the house. Culture, how's it going?
It's going very well. I'm glad to be talking about things that we're excited about. So this is good.
Isn't that nice?
I know.
Isn't it nice?
Did you just get back from
It's been so
Oktoberfest?
Hey, I wish. Yeah, that'd be
So Disney has put us in this position. You're right, where we have for so long had to be negative, and we don't like being negative. And then people would say, "Oh, well, why are you watching these channels? All they do is complain. All they are is negative. They're pessimistic." And I don't think that's true. I think that, look at what we're saying now. We've had John Wick 4. We loved it. We had Top Gun Maverick. We loved it. We're having this Super Mario Brothers movie. We love it. So just give us good content and we're there. Culture, what do you think's happening? Are we starting to see these companies realize that the Disney strategy is a straight path to failure?
Well, I think that yes, I think the companies have seen that, and I think, as I've said before, I think Disney will be the last one to turn the boat around here. But I think it's larger than that. I think that because we're dealing with Nintendo and how protective they are of all of their IP, in particular, Shigeru Miyamoto, right?
Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah, so I can't say the name right. I try, but anyway, but specifically him, who's basically the father of Mario at this point, or mother, or whatever he calls himself. But he is going to protect these characters like they're his own. And so even though he's working with Comcast Universal, and they have some questionable choices in their past, or recent past anyway, I think that these companies are going to take note of the fact that this film not only outperformed just one day in the box office, it's going to outperform the projections for the weekend, the 5-day weekend. And I think it's going to blow away the box office. I think it's going to exceed our expectations, was it would make over $1 billion. I think it's going to make well over $1 billion.
Wouldn't that be something?
May I add something?
Yeah.
I think you're right in many retrospects when it comes to this. Hogwarts is a prime example, and it's not even a movie. Hogwarts is a game that pretty much shows that the fan base has a louder voice than anything. Mario has that same type of power. Whether or not you know the lore or not, you have seen that character everywhere. You have heard that name. You know that it's me, Mario. You've had all of that stuff. Legacy, especially with someone who is very protective like Nintendo, you're looking at like a castle with a moat and a whole army of Black Knights. And you're saying, we don't want you to touch our culture. We're here sharing our culture. And I think that's the beautiful thing with Nintendo right now.
I just want to add something else to what Fat Steven was saying. When I went to go see this movie last night, granted, I went to actually go see it at Universal Orlando.
I saw a picture. You had a photo of something out there too.
Yes, at the Cinemark Theater, they had the van that you see in the film for Super Mario Brothers Plumbing, and I posted a video. People kept coming up to take pictures. Not only were they taking pictures, but also mimicking the moves from the video game. And it was just
the jumps.
Amazing. Yes, the jumps. Exactly. If you go and you watch the video, without fail, somebody was doing that. And this one family kept repeating it over and over because they wanted to get it with everybody in the air at the same time. But not only that, you had people show up in cosplay. I saw Princess Peach. I saw Mario. I saw Luigi. I saw Wario of all people. He had someone dressed up as Wario. Yeah. And then in the Universal Studios gift shop, the Super Mario merch, bare. There was hardly anything that was there.
It's flying off the shelves. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I think these critics are missing. One of the things that I did is when I went to go review this, I took 2 of my friends, and one of those friends brought his kids. And that was really important because I'm not a child. I don't know if it's going to be a fantastic film for them. I can assume and I can guess. And so when I turned to the kids at the end of the movie, I said, "Hey, what did you think of it?" My opinion was it was a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10, somewhere in between there. I saw some room for improvement. I would have liked to have seen maybe an extra 10 minutes and focus in on the brothers' relationship. I would have liked to have seen Mario have more of a reaction to arriving in the Mushroom Kingdom. Mm-hmm. But all of that said, we're not going to do spoilers here, but all of that said, when I turned to the kids, I said, "What'd you think of it?" One kid went 10 out of 10, and the other kid went 100 out of 10. And I was like, We have a success here then, you know?
It's
So
it's
absolutely.
it says
Hey,
it all because this is purely a family film, and that reaction and in Lorena's description of what happened in her theater and everything else that we've talked about behind the scenes and what Jonah said about his kids, that's what this film is. It's a family film. It's grandparents take your grandkids. It's parents take your kids. It's a whole family adventure. It's a 4-quadrant film that entertains everybody, and we haven't had one of those in a long time.
This movie, oh my goodness, the score through the whole thing. I cannot imagine being handed the works of Koji Kondo, Brian Tyler, who does a fantastic job. He's a guy who works for Marvel. I'm pretty sure he works for DC too. He's one of those guys that's a solid B, if not an A. And oh man, this is an A. Every note, every single thing. I was just layer upon layer of musical goodness. So good.
Can I say from
Yes,
the
yes.
80s, no sleep till Brooklyn?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it all of that was right in place, right? Every little bit of modern rock, or I guess that's old rock, but every little bit was like perfectly placed, and so yeah, the score mixed in very well. The music that goes along with the scenes that you're seeing from the games with it was amazing. I was like, this is so well done, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's the theme from that the whole time. It was really really enjoyable, and I'm an old guy. So, like, I'm even digging it. So,
Are you guys saying that this film had only one message, and that was entertainment?
Yes.
And also that
does
brother
that
should
work
never mind.
apparently?
I'm not going to spoil it, but some of the themes of the film are deep, good family ties, standing up.
No. That doesn't work. That doesn't work here. I'm in the wrong stream. I wanted to have a hate watch party. What is this?
So Chris, have you seen the Mario movie yet?
No, I haven't actually, but I was looking at the numbers today. It's going to do very well. Like everybody said, it's going to be probably $1 billion movie. And I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score. Of course, it was a low critic score, high audience score, which always means it's probably a great movie. So I am psyched for the Perfect Dark movie. Strong female character before there was the strong female character in quotes. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you guys know if I've dated myself. Anybody remember Perfect Dark?
Yes, in the times of GoldenEye on the N64.
Yes.
But we've tried to forget the Xbox version. So
yes.
What's an Xbox?
Nintendo 64 all the way. But yeah, no. So I have not seen the movie yet. I think honestly though, I rarely venture to the movies anymore. There's never a reason to these days. But I think I might check this one out.